Tonight, I think they've both had a good preseason. Might be a little surprised to see Vigu in the goal after Knight started the game against Maryland and played well, but this is going to be a different kind of game. This is going to be a game in which the full field game, clearing the ball, is really important, and it may be that Vigu's experience, helped Danny make that decision to go and give him the start here.
Nice job for the Spiders by Cap coming away with the face-off. That matchup between Jared Chenoy and Anthony Gabriel, and now Richmond will start with its first offensive possession. And Dom, today they've got to deal with Cole Kastner, they've got to deal with John Schroeder, and Griffin Kaloji, who started his career at Richmond, will get the start on close defense for Virginia today.
Kaloji, who's started every game as a freshman here at Richmond, transfers to Virginia where his older brother had played, and frankly, with Schroeder and Kastner, the other two starters for Virginia, Kaloji's the little guy at 6'2". Those other two guys are monsters.
And the Spiders turn it over in the offensive end. Some pressure there. Early on, it looked like Kastner drew Aiden O'Neill in the matchup, and Richmond was unable to complete that pass. So now Virginia will go to the offensive end here, and we'll keep our eye on their outstanding scorers of Conan Schellenberger and Peyton Cormier. And don't forget about McCabe Millen on the attack for Virginia today. Really special attack unit in the game at any level. With the Millen kid got off to a great start last year in his first college game, scoring 5 goals against Michigan. That young man right there, Conor Schellenberger, clearly one of the best attackmen in the country. And then Peyton Cormier is just a big load goal scorer. And so they're going to be tough. We'll keep an eye on all those different matchups. Now here comes the clear attempt with Nugent. Fires it ahead to McClure, and Richmond gets to the offensive end. That's going to be a big factor today, Dom, as to how well Richmond can handle a little bit more of a pressure unit in that clear from Virginia than what Maryland or maybe Robert Morris gave them. I would have thought it was going to be, going into the Maryland game, I would have told you beforehand that was going to be a big factor in the game, was Richmond's ability to handle the pressure on the ride and be able to clear the ball efficiently. And then, lo and behold, Maryland doesn't really force the play on the ride at all. And midway through the fourth quarter, Richmond's 20 for 20 clearing the ball. I think it'll be a very different animal today. Virginia makes their hay on pressure riding. And so, again, I think it may have had to do with factored into starting Vigu in the goal. And Richmond having graduated Jake Saunders, who was their best stick-handling defenseman a year ago, their ability to take care of the ball and get the ball cleared from defense to offense. Probably going to have a lot to say with how this goes. Luke Graham on the wing as he receives that pass from Henry Alpaw. Onto the wing, Graham takes a shot and puts the first goal on the board. Luke Graham with the tally. That's going to be his 5th goal of the season, and the Spiders grab an early 1-0 advantage with that goal from Luke Graham. And Dalton Young there, and it takes Schroeder. He's got Schroeder in a little bit of an unfamiliar position in the top corner, and they slide to him early, and he finds the open man, and it's a step down and a dunk for Graham. They kind of left Graham alone there, which is this Richmond offense under Dan Chamati here, they can score from just about anywhere. When you slide adjacent like that, if you don't get that second slide, it's just too quick for the defense to react. And so when you're going to go like that, you either got to be able to finish that double, or you got to be, the slide has to be sort of preordained so they're in a position to go. So an early 1-0 Richmond advantage as Virginia wins this face-off and looks to get to the offensive end now. Chase Yeager, 23 for Virginia, clearing the ball, transfer from Harvard. Got Will Corey on the field right now with that possession, and Virginia now works to offense. Ryan Thompson out on the midfield defense for the moment. Back to Schellenberger. Draws the long stick of Smith here. Into the middle of Cormier. His shot's just wide. McClure trying to get over to cover him quickly. Yeah, you got to have a stick on 24 inside, off the ball. If you got to slide from that spot, you need to have that second slide down in there already before you depart that one. Now Menke's on for Virginia as well. Good ball movement from the Cavaliers. That's Menke on the wing. Schellenberger loses possession, and now it's Virginia's turnover there. Nice rotation for Richmond defensively there.
And you see big 39, Kasner up in the middle of the field there on the ride. Virginia rides with pressure in both a 9-man and a 10-man. And in some ways, the 9-man is more dangerous because the goalie's in the goal. And Richmond clears the ball again.
And that's Vigu doing that work in the middle of the field there. Now to O'Neill. And the Spiders will set things up.
I remember a year ago when Coach Giamatti went to Vigu in the goal. One of the things he said to me was that he's just much better in the full field game. So they're going to need that today, and they're off to a solid start so far.
Kastner right now hounding O'Neill, and Matthew Nunes comes up with possession, the outstanding goalkeeper for Virginia. Early 1-0 Richmond advantage on the Luke Graham goal. 3 shots for Richmond, 2 for Virginia, all coming in this early part of the first quarter.
Yeah, Virginia's running a bunch of different people in the game already. I think we expected, especially with that second midfield in the game, we expected to see some different combinations.
Well, that was Jack Boyden, the Division III transfer, the Division III Player of the Year last year at a Tufts University.
We're going to have Ryan Lansbury in the box. We're hopeful later in the game. It'll be fun to talk to him about Boyden. Here's a young man who's in his 5th year, had his early years at Tufts, like you said, and scores 69 goals in his senior year, which is a career for a lot of guys, and yet he's known more for assists.
There's a goal scorer there, Dalton Young, with number 8 on the season, as he fires from low to high and scores, and now Richmond's got a 2-0 lead, and this is probably the best start you could hope for if you're Dan Giamatti. Young's got open space there to shoot.
Yeah, they don't get through the pick cleanly enough. And
that was Kolodji trying to get over to cover.
Gives Dalton some room, gets his hands free. In a game like this, there's a tendency to think that Richmond wants to play slowly. But with the shot clock, especially, you got to play. And so I would say that Richmond's been aggressive so far, and I think they're going to need to maintain that pace.
Schellenberger with possession now. Hunter Smith on him. And Virginia will make a couple other changes. They played 28 players against Michigan last week in that 19-11 win over what was then the 8th-ranked Wolverines.
Yeah, and I would, Coach Tiffany oftentimes does that early in the year. Plays a lot of guys. You're watching them play, and you're thinking, Lars, you got to shorten your roster here a little bit. But he's still trying to figure some things out. And they're doing that, and so it'll take them a little while to get it done. And in the meantime, they have a lot of talented players, and so generally the guys that are getting out there are not slouches.
That was a good check by Jake Kapp to knock that ball free, but
once he loses his stick like that, though, he can't continue to play. And that was the violation probably, is that they're playing without a stick.
That gives Virginia the ball back, but there's Kapp again to pick it up for the Spiders. Get out of the way from Cormier. Now Kapp may take a shot here. Nice stop by Nunes.
Really nice stop.
And Virginia gets the loose ball with Ben Weyer.
And one of the things that may help Richmond clearing the ball is that they've got real experience in the defensive midfield between the long poles and Nugent and Gooley and Pilling. They've got guys that have been around the block. And so if the ball's down or the ball's loose and they get a chance to pick it up, they'll be attacking the full field.
Griffin Schutz with possession. Gets it to Cormier, and now more changes for the Cavaliers here. Near side to Schutz. Draws a matchup with Kapp. Right on the near side, an open pass and a look for McCabe Millen. And he'll get on the board now for what is goal number 6 on the season. He had 5 against Michigan. Millen was considered to be the nation's #1 prospect. And he is now with the Cavaliers and puts them on the board to make it 2-1 Spiders.
It's a really nice look by Schutz. But, Schutz had come off the dodge there. He wasn't really threatening the cage. And so it may have been that Richmond needed to just reconfigure a little bit more quickly.
We're going to get a timeout. So we'll stop here for the moment. Early action from Richmond. Spiders up 2-1, 7:48 to go on the first. More coming your way here this afternoon. Stay with us on ESPN+. All right, early on, a lead for the Spiders. 5 shots, 4 on goal. Richmond 3 shots, Virginia 3 shots and 1 on goal. A couple of saves for Nunes already. And right now, a 2-1 Richmond lead on the goals from Luke Graham and Dalton Young. 2 of the Spiders' best offensive players contributing early on here for Richmond.
Yeah, and in that case, then, that last goal, Millen's open on the back door. Schutz makes a great look. He's the one guy for Virginia right now that is the most classic midfielder, dodging off the top. But again, I think he came off the dodge there a little bit, and you just need to get reorganized defensively quicker than Richmond was able to that time.
Boy, a scramble for this loose ball. Chinoy had it, and then he's on the ground. Now a flag flies out. Jack Pilling's in there hacking away at it for Richmond. They'll come up with it. And so the Spiders go to work. Here's Tommy Stull spinning through the midfield. Gets it ahead to Pilling.
Hold the ball, get your people in the game, take advantage of this flag down. You get a chance to have a great offensive opportunity here, one you can take a little bit of a chance with, knowing that you're going to get the ball back on the extra man.
This is Alpaul with possession. Now over to Madonna. First quarter action from here in Richmond. Nice day, a little windy, but not too bad. Good crowd on hand today here at Robins Stadium. Here comes Alpaul on the charge. Drops it down to O'Neal, and he'll work it back to Sheridan. Remember, there is a flag down. The Spiders working this clock with 37 to shoot. Madonna draws a short stick matchup here. Tried to throw one in front, maybe for a quick shot in tight. That turnover will bring about the penalty now.
Yeah, it's a situation there with that flag down where you can take a little bit of a chance. And, so I'll see what they can do on extra man.
This will be the first extra man opportunity for either side so far today. And so far for Richmond this season, we had a couple opportunities with the extra man.
The game last year, the game against Virginia in the regular season, distorted some of the stats. Virginia wins so decisively, distorted some of the stats, especially for Vigu. Well, the game against Robert Morris may have had this reverse effect a little bit, but against against Maryland, the games like those are the games where your extra man and your face-off stats are going to make the biggest difference.
Couple of shots. Spiders are wide on both, but O'Neal keeps possession.
So was that a 30-second foul? A little push.
So. Yeah. It was a holding call on Gabriel. Took place during that scrum off the face-off. Penalty has expired, so back to full strength for Virginia defensively. Graham on the work against that short stick there. Works it to O'Neal and then back out top. Spiders have 45 to shoot. Lose possession for the moment. Madonna trying to regain it through traffic, and a whistle stops play. I think we got a timeout there from Dan Chamati.
Yeah, it's one of those now.
But Virginia does have the advantage, 9-1 in the series with that one Richmond win coming 2 years ago. So today the Spiders up 2-1, and Richmond on the offensive attack here. I think that's Gavin Creo, the freshman for the Spiders, at possession. He's out on this shift.
And he can give them an invert presence behind the goal. He'll get a short stick back there and play like an attackman. I thought he was dangerous against Maryland.
Is it 10? Young fires in front. That one deflected on the shot attempt by Olsen, who's back in today. But the Cavaliers come up with possession, and they'll head downfield quickly. A little unsettled situation for Schellenberger. Throws near side, and a quick goal from the wing. It is going to go against Tamillan again. 2 shots for him, 2 goals, and he ties this game at 2.
That young man is going to think that Division I lacrosse isn't that hard, you know.
Well, we'll take another look at it. McCabe Millen is a freshman out of Writerstown, Maryland, and he was considered the nation's #1 prospect.
You want to make, in a game like this, you know, against a team like this, you really want to make every effort to get back in on defense and just take away the break. Rather than making a play, a little bit off-balance play in the middle of the field and letting them get behind you, you want to, you know, like I say, you want to get back inside and take away the fast break.
Spiders going to the other end. This one ricochets high into the air.
Nice save by Nunes.
Chenoy still chasing it down, but it's scooped up by Virginia. George Fulton's out there now on defense. He didn't start the game today on the close defense, and he came up with that possession. And Kastner carries it ahead, and now Virginia's back to the offensive attack. Shots are 8-4, 6-2 on goal for Richmond, but Virginia's even things up at 2 apiece now here in the first quarter.
It looks like they've got Fulton and Kaloji sharing a spot on the close defense for Virginia.
Near side for Will Corey. Corey, a freshman out of Charlottesville, up at the Episcopal School. This is Schellenberger behind the cage. Quick turn and a shot, and
Nice
Vigu
save.
with the stop. And we mentioned Vigu's numbers last year. You know, that 25-8 game, his numbers were skewed by that result up at UVA for Richmond last year. He played a tremendous goalie for the Spiders last season. And now he and Connor Knight are sharing time and in a battle this year for their playing time. They played 30 minutes each against Robert Morris last week. And Knight started the first game against Maryland, played the whole contest.
I thought he played well. But it may be that, again, that Coach Amati just feels like Vigu's experience in the overall field game will be more of a factor today.
Stick up a little high there as Madonna works, trying to get to Graham. Graham sends it to the middle, and then back to Graham from Sheridan. And play getting a little physical now, and Hunter Smith will try to come up with this. We do have a flag down on the far side. It looks like it's going to go against Virginia again. So the Spiders get another extra man opportunity.
Sounded like the crowd had an opinion on some of those calls.
Good crowd today, as we said. You can see there on the far
nice
side.
Crowd. Yeah, people on both sides.
This is a 1-minute penalty.
It's great that Richmond, you know, has got the program going the way Dan has got this program, you know, getting better, continuing to progress, and what's happened over here in the years since they started. You know, it's been great for the state of Virginia. It's good for UVA. It's good for the sport of lacrosse.
1 minute now for the Spiders with the extra man in a 2-2 tie, and 3 minutes to go in the first.
Starting a little circle, cut into a 1-4-1.
Jan Schroeder got called for a slash. That's your 1 minute penalty on Virginia. Here's Graham on the near side. To O'Neal behind the cage. Fulton tries to pick him up out front. A quick shot and a goal. The Spiders tally there on the extra man opportunity. It's Jack Ricciardi, the sophomore attack out of New York, and a 3-2 advantage for Richmond.
Really nice look on the extra man. You know, that diagonal guy far and away is generally the guy who's open, and if you can find that seam, he's going to be dangerous.
And, you know, making those passes against, you've got a couple guys out there for Virginia that are 6'5" and 6'7" with long sticks. To get those passes into that location can be a little bit tough sometimes.
Absolutely. And the other piece is, you know, and I think that Richmond matches up well with the Virginia defensemen. You know, if you try to run around those guys, you're going to have problems. They're just so long, you know. You want to go in, get into their body and go after those guys a little bit. And then Dalton Young and Aiden O'Neal, especially, they've got the attackmen to be able to do that. That ball is still not cleared. Now you feel like the ball is cleared in the hands of an attackman.
O'Neal has it. Graham tried to get it in front, and I think Nunes
picked that off. Yeah. Get your bodies in the hole. And here's Schellenberger on a short, so you need to be ready to support that one.
And the defense not quite settled. A man in front. Fabian tried to check him off, but it's a goal for Joey Terenzi. That's his second of the season. And that's going to even things back up at 3 with 2:05 to play in the first.
And Virginia's got the luxury of a player like Terenzi, who redshirted a year ago, is playing in the defensive midfield, but is really an offensive player. And so they can leave those guys in the game. You got your offensive players in on defense, so you're not in your best posture defensively, and yet Virginia's good enough to be able to take advantage of that in those situations.
And the last 2 goals now, Dom, for Virginia coming in pretty much unsettled situations for Richmond. They haven't quite gotten that defense completely set up, it looks like. Fulton has it now for Virginia, working with Nunes to clear it, and they'll move it ahead quickly to Chase Yeager.
There are times when you've got your offensive players on defense, and you are at a disadvantage, even though you have the numbers that you needed.
Now Virginia back to the attack, and a 3-3 tie, 1:35 to go in the first. Open in the middle. A toss to the doorstep, and that's too easy for Connor Schellenberger. All you have to do is stay out of the crease. He just dumps it home. 3rd goal for him. And Virginia's up quickly now, 4-3, 1:29 to go in the first.
And I'll tell you, that Jack Boyden, and this is the second game I've had a chance to watch him, he's just got a uncanny knack for finding the open man and delivering a good pass. He didn't even play that much in their first game against Michigan, kind of ran with the first and second midfield, and he was 2 and 3 at the end of the game. So he's a real force for them offensively. He's somebody I wouldn't slide too early because he's got such good eyes.
Scramble for this possession. Chenoy trying to wrestle it away there from Gabriel, but it comes away to Virginia. They credit that goal to Schellenberger, but I thought that went to Terenzi.
No, that last goal was Schellenberger.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Boyden and Schellenberger.
For some reason, here comes Schellenberger again. Now, that last one was him, but there's another one. A pass in front and a quick shot, and Virginia showing how quickly it can score as they tally inside there. It looks like Jack Boyden picks up this goal.
Yeah.
Let's take one more look at this. Schellenberger sets this up now. Smith trying to scramble to cover. And there's Boyden wide open. So Virginia's up now by 1 with 56 seconds left in the first. But we've seen already, I guess you could say, Virginia's explosiveness on offense. A couple of quick possessions. They're downfield quickly.
And they got an extra man here now.
They're getting an extra man opportunity.
Yeah, for the penalty after this shot.
Jake Kapp gets called for the penalty here. It is going to be a 1-minute penalty and an extra man chance now for Virginia with a 5-3 lead after a couple of quick goals. Schellenberger bounces one wide. And there's still time on the penalty, of course, left, 44 seconds. Nice stop that time. That was a shot by Millen and a big save from Zach Vignew. And an important one probably here as his first quarter winds down.
Big save. Millen drops his hands and shoots it low. Makes Zach's life a little bit easier than it needed to be for them. But
Graham somehow keeps possession during that. Virginia's got 2 seconds here. They do have possession when the second quarter starts. They'll let the clock run out. Well, a good first quarter. Virginia bouncing back to take the lead late at 5-3. Richmond had some advantage early. We'll talk about the numbers when we come back to Robins Stadium with quarter number 2 in just a moment. Stay with us here on ESPN Plus. Right now, Virginia 5, Richmond 3 here at Robins Stadium. Richmond's got possession to start the second. Ryan Lanchbury visiting with us here now. And The Spiders working on the offensive end here as we take a look at things for quarter number 2.
Ryan, I don't know if you've had a chance to watch a little bit of this Jack Boyden play, the transfer from Tufts, who's playing at Virginia. Did you run into him at all in your indoor experience background? He's only a little bit younger than you, really, in his 5th year here.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of clips of him. Yeah, I know the one that went viral last year of the fake chip shot. I've never seen anyone pull that off. I watched the game last week. He was really fun out there. Obviously, a ton of talent. He actually was drafted by Rochester in the NLL, so haven't met him yet. But I think once his time in college is done,
I've only watched him now. Really, the live was the first game against Michigan. But the first thing I thought of when I watched him play was Ryan Lanchbury.
Really?
Well, he's sort of a pass first guy. You can see that when he gets the ball, his first inclination isn't to. People think of the traditional Canadian as really snipers,
Absolutely.
but I think your game was similar. Was that you were as dangerous passing the ball, and I see the same qualities in him.
Yeah, he's definitely a great player, and he has a ton of weapons around him. So I think he'll fit in pretty nicely in this offense.
Virginia on the attack now as we visit with Ryan Lanchbury here in quarter number 2. Schellenberger finds Cormier, and his shot wide, and Cavaliers will keep possession.
And it's a good point. It goes to the point I was just talking about here. Cormier may be pressing a little bit. He's only a goal away from the all-time scoring goal record at Virginia. But he's sort of your typical Canadian that guys think about.
He definitely is, yeah.
Get him the ball. He's shooting it and putting it in the back of the net. So.
Yeah, I've played against Cormier for a long time. I played with him a couple summers ago up in Canada, and he's a tremendous talent.
Well, we'll see whether or not he gets that record today. He was my last recruit that's still at UVA.
Really?
And, and if he scores 2 goals today, he'll break the all-time goal-scoring record set by Doug Knight, who was maybe my first recruit at UVA.
Nice.
And, kind of ironic.
Now Richmond back to the offensive end here, trailing 5-3 here in the second. O'Neill working, again, drawing that long stick of Kastner. And a flag will come out now.
And that's what I was saying earlier, Robert. And I think that's what they need to do. I'd like to see O'Neill, turn that corner on Kastner, and the same with Dalton, like that. Challenge those guys physically, make them put their hands on you. I think they can make something happen.
Dalton Young's shot was wide as John Schroeder covered.
Yeah, and to that point, when you play big D guys like this that have a ton of range, you're better off getting in their body and getting in tight with them.
No question. You try to run around those guys, you're gonna, you can spend. It'll be a conditioning workout. It won't be. You're not going to be helping your team score.
They'll have all the advantage.
All right, the penalty on Virginia will give Richmond an extra man opportunity. Kastner got the slashing penalty for 1 minute. Ryan Lanchbury with us here now. And Ryan, what do you do now when you have the extra man opportunity? What kind of things is the offense trying to do at this point?
Yeah, I think you're trying to move the ball, and you're trying to find, a way to find an open man, whether that's just great ball movement and using that extra man, or you're trying to find a way to get them rotating and find a skip lane for a hands-free shot. I think Richmond really wants to cash in here. And the way to do it is going to have to get the Virginia defense moving.
Spiders will keep possession there. The shot from Alpaw a little bit wide, but they're back quickly. O'Neill back out top. Alpaw got 24 seconds on the penalty. Young finds Alpaw from distance here. He'll pass up. Graham finds O'Neill. He'll take a shot, and that didn't make it all the way through either. It's still Richmond's possession, though, with 11 seconds left on the penalty. The man-up opportunity here. Alpaw again. He'll go near side Young, and that shot's going to go wide and high. So
Good altitude on that shot.
Penalty does expire here, so Virginia back to full strength. So Ryan, last time out, let's see, if I'm right, you had 2 goals and 5 assists and 7 points in your February 10th contest.
Yeah, that was a game up in Rochester. Unfortunately, we did not come away with the win, but played against the former team in Georgia that I was drafted to. So had a little bit of a chip on my shoulder going into that one. Would have loved to win the game, but it was definitely nice to have a good game and kind of go out there and play a little free.
What's the adjustment you have to make maybe from this playing here and playing what you're playing now?
Well, it's definitely a lot faster and a lot more physical. I think the big thing is that everything you do, you have to do at an increased speed. Guys are going to be right in your face the whole game. Guys are going to hit you hard. All the passes, all the kind of dodges and shots you take are going to have to be at really quick speeds. You have to speed up your brain and think the play a little quicker through.
A little delay here as the officials work something out. Lars Tiffany, the head coach of Virginia.
Played for me at Brown. Was a two-time captain. We also actually were a little crowded here in the booth today. We got Jay McMahon is sitting in with us. Jay was a teammate of Lars's at Brown and two-time first-team All-American Midi.
Richmond waiting to put the ball in play here. There's still some discussion with the officials now. Looking at the penalty time, they've got 2 seconds back up there. The horn did sound, but the 2 seconds left on that shot clock too. Maybe that's what it was as well.
That seemed like the classic much ado about nothing.
So back to offense for Virginia now as they'll work on clearing this. They survived the extra man opportunity for Richmond, and now the Cavaliers go to work with a 2-goal advantage here in quarter number 2. Ryan Lansbury sitting in with us. Now, you played in this game, obviously, a few times with Virginia playing every year. What was the big thing about this game that you take away from your time here when you guys had to face off against a team like this?
Yeah, I think anytime you face a team like this, you have to be on your A game. You have to cash in on extra mans. You can't give up easy goals. You got to make them earn their goals. And you got to weather the storm. A team like this is able to score in bunches. So I think, on the offensive end, you got to cash in when you get the chances. And on the D end, you got to, do what you can to not let them go on runs.
Cormier trying to get loose. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I think, it's really good defense right there. And, anytime, play a team like this, obviously a ton of talent, you got to be at your very best.
McClure trying to come away with possession here, and a scramble for it has it go out of bounds. It'll still be Virginia's possession.
Generally, also, I would assume it's important that you kind of keep your poise in a game like this. That, obviously, it's easier to get ready emotionally. Sometimes it's a little harder to keep those emotions in check. And like I said, I think it's important point what you made, which is that you need to weather the storm sometimes a little bit, and
Hunter Smith bounced that one a little short, and it went over the cage, but Richmond will hang on to it.
See, that's why Hunter's a defenseman.
It must be hard to shoot with that long stick sometimes. You get a lot of momentum.
Yeah, that's why you got to give it off to the O guys. Let them do the work there.
That's why they pay the attackman the big bucks,
You guys have had plenty of long sticks, though, that will take shots, though, and have been successful with it. So we've seen that. Brendan Hines comes to mind from a few years ago, and plenty of other guys have been able to do that when they're on that open. It's hard to turn it down when you're running full speed upfield. Nobody's in front of you.
I'll tell you, too, the Poles are so much better handling the ball than they used to be. And teams that are good in transition are generally good because they have their poles are really good. And you think when Virginia had Jared Connors there, who was the Midi of the Year, every time down on offense, they were a threat.
Yeah, and I think like I was alluding to earlier, when you play really good teams, it's tough to score a 6-on-6. You're only going to get so many 6-on-6 goals. You have to have, threats in transition. You have to be good on the man up. So if you can add that to your team's arsenal.
Oh, that's a nice pass and a good shot from Cormier. Goes inside the far post and gets another goal for Virginia to go up 6-3. And with that goal now, Cormier ties Doug Knight's record.
That's right.
You need one more to break it for most goals in Virginia history. And here's a look at the pass. Nice feed there from Ryan Colsey. And then Cormier puts it away.
I got Cormier's name from Garrett Billings. Does that name mean anything to you?
Garrett Billings was one of my favorite players growing up. He played
is that
for
right?
Toronto
Yeah.
Rock, and I used to go and watch games all the time.
Garrett had a great career at UVA.
Chenoy comes away with a nice win here. Gets it across to Young. And now O'Neal will go to work. He's got to work around that defense. Takes a shot wide.
Yeah, I think O'Neal might have stepped in that one himself. Pretty good angle.
That was Prestopino in at the long stick spot on defense for Virginia on that matchup. Another player getting in for the Cavaliers. Remember, they played 28 last time, so they're deep into the rotation again today. Cormier, Madonna's shot bounces wide. Back to Richmond, though, on the rebound. And a shot out front from Alpalm. Misses target, but with 8:06 to go and down 6-3, it's still Richmond's possession.
I tell you, starting late last season, Nunes in the goal really started to step up for Virginia. He started to get some confidence, and he's been very good early in this game here. And if he turns into that kind of goalie, they're going to be makes them all that much tougher defensively.
Here comes Young, trying to get into position around Kastner, and a leaping attempt in front of the goal is good. Nice move from Young. He got around Kastner and then found room to just leap in and fire. And for Dalton Young, his second goal today, 9 on the season. It's now a 6-4 Virginia lead. As
it's what we both said, what Ryan repeated, which is that we want these attackmen. I think we'd encourage these attackmen to try to get inside on these defensemen. And, and Dalton Young is strong enough to be able to do that effectively.
Got around Schroeder. That's going to take us to a timeout. Ryan, we appreciate you coming by and stopping and visiting with us for a couple.
Saves, or they've missed the cage on some opportunities, so the chances have been there. And you just, like I said, in a game like this against a team like this, you need to cash in on those.
Chenoy slaps one back, and there's a scramble for it. And the Cavaliers coming out with it for a moment. But it looks like now Jack Fabian's going to get it for Richmond after Ben Weyer had flipped it upfield for the Cavaliers. And so Richmond trying to get back to offense. Going to run into a little pressure from Virginia. Here's McClure on the near side for the Spiders.
I had a meeting with McCabe Millen early in the school year. He called me and just wanted to talk, and I said, son, the fastest way to get on the field at UVA as an attackman is to be a good rider. And you can see that Millen's an athletic kid who can cover some ground, and he fits the mold for what they're looking for on the attack.
And Virginia intercepted that long pass upfield from Vigu, and now they're back on the offensive end here with Will Corey.
I didn't think they needed to force that pass.
And they're going to score. Looks like Schellenberger involved there for the Cavaliers to make it 7-4. And Virginia answers with Schellenberger's second tally of the day, his fourth on the season. Cormier is going to set him up this time, and he's wide open on that near post. Tough for Vigu to do anything with that.
Yeah, nice look by Peyton. Good finish.
Cormier has been a two-time 50-goal scorer, but picks up the assist that time.
It goes back to the turnover. That's the piece. I mean, Richmond had the ball and
they had time to get it across.
That's what I thought also.
Time wasn't running out. I don't think.
Right. They turned the ball over and winds up in the back of the net.
And your faceoffs are 6-5 now in Richmond's favor, but Virginia does have that 7-4 advantage, and at times they've scored very quickly. As Ryan Lanchbury visited with us a moment ago, and we thank him for coming up. I said it's hard to score 6-on-6, and Virginia's had a couple of goals today where they've had some unsettled Richmond defensive situations.
And we talked about that. It's just not a team you want to be unsettled against defensively. You don't want to be in transition and have your people spread out. It's really important to get inside and get organized quickly.
Virginia sets things up now with the midfield here. Menke working in close. Kicks it back out front to Patrick McIntosh. And now Millen. Already a couple of goals today. Had 5 against Michigan.
Good speed, kind of an up and down dodger.
Clock's down to 5 seconds. Cormier fires one.
Cormier against the short. He can dodge. It's almost as if he gets offended when he winds up with a short stick on him, and he's a load. He's listed at 230 pounds, but I think that might be kind, I think.
Richmond holds on here. And now Young trying to work away from the defense of Kastner. Cole Kastner, the ACC's Defensive Player of the Year last year. Lance Madonna's been quiet so far today from the midfield. Sheridan, long distance, fires from about 18 yards out or more, and he tallies. Long shot from Joe Sheridan there.
Yeah, I thought Madonna may have passed up on a good shot, but it was good to bounce that ball back and have Sheridan, put one in the back of the net.
So 7-5, and Sheridan had time to get himself settled, and a clean look here. Now that pulls Richmond back to within 2, 4:50 left in the half.
It seems like both teams have been sort of attacking in the unsettled game. We haven't seen a lot of settled offense. If you were looking at this game so far and you said to me, what does Virginia do in their settled offense, or what's Richmond trying to do? I don't think we've seen a lot of that yet. So both teams are getting after it, and Virginia continues to pressure on the ride.
Well, Joe Gooley taking this ahead now. Gives it to Madonna. You've got some room to work here. And Madonna eventually cut off by Will Erdman. And now Richmond might try to set things up. Back to Alpon. Dalton Young here. Tried to get a switch, didn't get it. Alpon works to O'Neal. Again, O'Neal's been quiet to this point, like he was against Maryland until he came on late in the game. Trying to work away from this defensive presence. Throws one near side. It got tipped, and the whistle's going to stop play. Now, after the play's over, Dalton Young's dumped to the ground. We may get a flag on Virginia here.
I didn't think the push was a violation, and then Fulton takes a silly foul. They're always going to get called for that.
You got a Cavalier shaken up here on the play. I think that's
Noah Chismar, one of the short stick defensive middies. Was a walk-on who made the team. It was an attackman in Baltimore growing up. He's evolved into one of the best short stick D middies in the country.
Take a look at it. This was after Chismar had already hit the ground, and then a little shove from behind there against Virginia. He's going to be your call.
A game like this, two teams of this caliber, you just don't want to take unnecessary fouls.
It was George Fulton, I believe, the guilty party there. Another one of those 6'6" defensemen. So if he starts, you got Fulton, Kastner, and Schroeder, and they're all above 6'5" along the back.
They are 6'6", 215 on average. I used to think I could play. I'm not sure I could play in this day and age.
All right, 1 minute penalty. That's the call on Fulton for unnecessary roughness. Extra man opportunity for Virginia. For Richmond, sorry. It's 7-5. Here's a near side shot. That's off Nunes. And it will go out of bounds on the near side where Young will put it back.
It's a nice save.
Young back to the near side. Working this extra man. I had it in the middle, and it ricocheted off of the stick of Ricciardi there. Madonna tried to go far side. Has to retrieve it. 18 seconds in the penalty. Here's Madonna out top.
And a little bit of a 1-4.
O'Neal underhands it, and a shot there is wide. That's an Alpon.
Got a piece of that, so they got a new clock anyway. Teams are all even.
The penalty has expired according to the clock on the board. The shot clock's to 60. 2:58 in the half.
Kastner covering O'Neal behind the goal. Kastner at 6'7", very good high school basketball player who has actually had some contact with Tony Bennett over in Virginia. There was some talk about his going out for basketball, actually.
Well, he was, as we said earlier, the ACC Defensive Player of the Year last year in Lacrosse. You know how much Tony Bennett likes defense, though. Reset the clock, the shot clock. And Richmond now has 18 seconds rather to get a shot off here. And Kastner has drawn Aiden O'Neal all day today. Here's Dalton Young. trying to work away from Schroeder. Madonna's in close. O'Neal trying to get free. 2 seconds to shoot. O'Neal's just going to toss it away. Couldn't get anything off.
You know, again, I think it appears it's easier from up here, I'll tell you that. But looked like Madonna passed up on a couple of opportunities he could have had. He's a really good shooter, and I'd like to see him let that ball go a little bit.
And so Virginia will work on moving ahead now. They'll get Nunes involved. Dalton Young and Graham trying to put a little pressure on. A couple of changes for UVA now as they bring in
Boyden in the game and
get him back on the field.
Schutz in the game.
First midfield for the Cavaliers. Colsey out there as well. And this is Boyden. Gets in close. That one ricochets off Vigue and to the side. So we talked about Jack Boyden. It's still Virginia's possession. 1:42 left in the half. He comes from Division III. And you probably can speak to this as well as anybody, Dom. So he starts his career at Division III, and now he's playing at the highest level you could possibly play at Division I. What changes? How do you evaluate that process as your first recruit to say, well, you're going to go to Division III instead? What's the change in there that allows him to be?
The obvious.
He develops obviously some.
Yeah, but he's a Canadian indoor player, box player. Those guys play a lot of lacrosse, high-level lacrosse in the summers. They play more lacrosse than most kids growing up playing field lacrosse.
Virginia took that timeout. And now back to work here with 1:10 left in the half.
Run a little weave up top with the three middies.
And nice play there by Zach Vigue to step out. He's got 5 saves today. Here comes Jeff Nugent. Has that one knocked away from him, and Nugent will feed it ahead. Nice move by Joe Gooley at the midfield.
You might be calling a timeout of your own here. Richmond still got one in the bank.
Well, at this point, Dalton Young going to work with 37 seconds left in the half. O'Neal, Kastner in pursuit. That's been going on all day. O'Neal came in with 8 goals and 6 assists and 14 points for Richmond. That's bolstered off that Robert Morris performance last week of 6 and 6.
And you alluded to it earlier. He had he wasn't much of an impact in the Maryland game until the 4th quarter when he had a couple of big goals. And so you want to say, Aiden, don't be afraid to take the ball and take a chance.
Young can't come up with possession with pursuit that time from John Schroeder. And we're going to get another timeout here, I believe. They give that to Richmond.
Timeout, Richmond.
Richmond timeout. 4 seconds left in the half. Virginia up 7-5. You got 22 shots for the Spiders to 20 for Virginia this first half. 13 on goal for Virginia and 12 for Richmond. 7 saves credited to Virginia, 6 to Zach Vigue. And, his production with a couple of big saves has kept this game a 2-goal game right now.
I think that Richmond has had more good scoring opportunities than Virginia. They just haven't put the ball in the back of the net quite, and so.
And Virginia's production's been off some of those, unsettled situations.
Right, they've been really good opportunities, but I think Richmond's had a number of good opportunities that they just haven't. When Nunes has stepped up and made a good save, or they haven't hit the cage, and so this game could easily be tied or going the other way. I don't think there needs to be any big changes by Richmond necessarily going into the second half. We just want to shoot a little more efficiently, fellas, and we got to keep up our level of energy. We want to get back inside on defense so that we're taking away at the unsettled game.
Zach Vigue's impact. Let's look at this now. Virginia's 12 of 12 on the clear. Richmond's 11 of 12. I guess that one they didn't clear was the one pass Vigue made that turned into a Virginia goal at the other end when it was intercepted in the Richmond offensive end. But that's been the only mistake that they've made, clearing the ball today.
Yeah, and I mentioned earlier in the game that was going to be a big factor, and I think Richmond's handled that pretty efficiently, and so it's 7-5. But again, I think if Richmond had just shot a little bit better, it could be 7-7. And that's been the way the game has been. Both teams have been up and down the field, taking chances, getting after it a little bit. And Virginia's been a little more efficient putting the ball in the back of the net.
So we are approaching halftime with a 7-5 Virginia advantage as we continue along with you here today.
And Richmond calls this timeout to, get their defensive people in the game and to be organized on this quick possession. There's only 5 seconds to play, but you don't want to give one up here, and you don't want to necessarily take the timeout into the locker room.
Ben Wayer is going to put this ball into play for Virginia. I would anticipate this is going to be probably a length of the field pass, and it bounces toward Vigu, and it skipped by him. I'm not sure he saw it completely, but it was wide of the cage.
It looked like Colsey almost had a chance at that ball, number 13.
I think that was obviously the intention. And now time will run out. So a good first half. Virginia with the 2-goal advantage over Richmond. Already on the Virginia side, 2 for Schellenberger, 2 for Millen. He scored quick and early. Cormier has 1 and Boyden has 1, and Terenzi's also scored for the Cavaliers.
If I was Coach Shimati in that locker room, I wouldn't have been unhappy with how the play was in the first half, but I would have got on my guys a little bit and said, "Hey, fellas, we gotta start putting the ball in the back of the net here." Sometimes it feels like scoring is just a question of determination. Hidden ball trick.
Fooled him that time for sure. Looked like Boyden had it. And Virginia's bench erupts off that goal, and they'll take a quick goal here into the third. 8-5. We'll take a look at it from distance, and we'll try to track it down for you here. So here comes Boyden. There's the fake. And Boyden carries as if he has it. And from long distance up on the right side of your screen, that long shot is good. And Virginia goes up by an 8-5 margin. Joey Terenzi pulling off that trick. That's his second goal of the contest. And right off the bat, Virginia back to a 3-goal advantage. Ben Wayer coming up with that ball off the face-off. And now over to Schellenberger. And now, Jack Boyden has possession. Smith draws Schellenberger with the long stick here. Quick shot from in front by Cormier is wide.
He does not need a lot of room in there.
He likes that. He likes that high-low, swooping, underhanded shot.
I think he'll shoot whatever shot's available. But Schellenberger is always looking for him. And so, again, it's hard not to give him a little bit of room in there. Everything that you're conditioned to do defensively is to hedge off that inside guy a little bit. But then they will find him.
Back in possession for the Cavaliers with now a 3-goal lead. This one's dumped right in front. That ricochets out, hit the post. Pilled out by Tommy Stahl. He takes off the other way.
You get a little bit of a break here.
Gets it ahead quickly into the offensive end. Richmond trying to take advantage. First shot from O'Neal is speared by Nunes. And he's quickly ahead to midfield.
He's offsides, I believe.
That's offsides, isn't it? That is an offensive call. The official finally blowing the whistle there. Schellenberger came back across the midfield line. And Virginia didn't have the numbers right.
Coach Tiffany doesn't agree, but I think he was offsides.
And so does the official, and that's really what matters.
That's the only thing that matters, Robert.
Back to offense for the Spiders. Lance Madonna today. And so far has not tallied in this contest. He's taken a couple of shots.
Yeah, I'd like to see Madonna step up a little bit here. I'd like to see O'Neal step up a little bit here.
And O'Neal has 1 assist today, so we have heard from him in that regard. He's taken 4 shots. Here's Young dodging through. The goal's open, and he can't get the shot off in time, but it does draw another flag. Might be oncology again. And Griffin Collegy, who started his career at Richmond. Great freshman season, transferred to Virginia. His brother, of course, played there. Take another look.
The game has changed, and so those kind of contact fouls, contact after a shot, is going to be called in this day and age.
Virginia penalty number 26, Griffin Schutz. 1 minute for cross-checking at 12:56.
Actually, that was Schutz. That was I'm sorry, Schutz with the penalty, not College. My fault.
Oops.
Here's O'Neal in front. Ricciardi works it around, and now we get another whistle and a flag again.
If the defensive team pushes an offensive player into the crease while the team on offense has the ball, it's a time-serving foul.
And that looks to be what happened with O'Neal.
I think it looked to me like O'Neal had a chance to turn that corner also and finish that shot. And it just goes a little bit to. You know, I'd like to see O'Neal just be a little bit more aggressive.
That's Chismar. So Chismar with that penalty, and Schutz with the cross check before that. So now you've got the extra man opportunity with 2 penalties here. And Graham goes out top. Richmond works the perimeter, and this one didn't get through on Dalton Young's attempt. He'll track it down though. 29 seconds in one penalty, 10 in the other.
It's too early to assess something as a must score, but when you're 2 men up like this and the other team came out and got one early, you sure like to cash in.
And it's Lance Madonna. So we'll get Lance Madonna's 4th goal of the season. And that gets Richmond back within 2 at 8-6. So Madonna on the board now for the Spiders. And as you said, Coach, you got, in a game like this, you've got a 2-man opportunity you need to take advantage of.
Yes, and they found the right guy inside. They're in a little bit of a box, trying to slide to those guys on the perimeter. They don't cover up inside well enough, and Madonna's going to take advantage of that, given that opportunity.
So back to the X. Face-offs are even at 7 apiece today. So
back
Chinoy
to all
doing a
even.
good job. Yep.
Richmond Spiders goal.
And Chinoy digs that out.
Number 2,
Still up for grabs. And now we get a whistle.
Final goal scored at 12:11.
And they give Richmond possession here.
Wow. I thought they were going to call Richmond for a push, and you sort of feel like it's the classic. We just called you for 2 men down. We're going to give you the next call. All right, let's seize a little momentum here now, Richmond. Let's have a great possession and wind up with a good shot on goal.
Packard and Merklinger are on the field. Haven't seen Merklinger much today. Here's the wing to Graham. Back to O'Neal. Draws a long stick there. Pressured behind the cage by Collegy.
That's the way.
There's a shot
That's what
in the
we're
goal
looking
for the Spiders. That's O'Neal. Aiden O'Neal coming alive in the second half as he did against Maryland a couple of weeks ago. And here's O'Neal. He had 6 goals and 6 assists against Robert Morris. 12 points, ties the record set by Ryan Lanchberry, who was in here earlier in that game. And now he's on the board here with a goal today to make this an 8-7 contest.
And especially with that second midfield in the game, you want your attack to be more aggressive, try to make something happen, and hopefully that'll shake O'Neal up a little bit here.
Number 9 on the season for O'Neal. And now Richmond down by 1 goal to the Cavaliers here in the 3rd.
Richmond Spiders goal. His 9th of the season. Number 5.
This ball picked up. The ground ball by Erdman comes away with that. The freshman out of Connecticut.
Virginia has numbers. Yep.
Connor Schellenberger turns it back out. So we saw that hidden ball trick in the first half, Coach. I mean, right here at the start of this second half. And it got Virginia what's now a much-needed goal to make it 8-7. It's a 1-goal game. That gave them their 8th goal right off the bat here in the 3rd quarter.
And someone asked me whether or not the hidden ball trick, when it goes against you, whether or not it makes you mad. It's actually it's a little bit embarrassing as much as what it has. Although you feel like hitting somebody, I'll be honest.
Gooley draws the defensive matchup for Richmond here against Menke. Now Nugent has the matchup. Nugent on Cormier.
Cormier against the short.
That didn't go well for Nugent. Cormier just bowls his way into something, but it's shot wide. Stays with Virginia. Not unusual. Nugent's pretty good at some things, but maybe not.
That's a big man, 24.
Back to the Virginia possession. Cap on defense for the Spiders here. Toss one in front, and there's a shot right in the middle. Will Corey, the grad student out of Charlottesville, on the board for Virginia, push them back up to a 9-7, a 2-goal advantage. And that's one of the few times today we've seen Virginia score from what we could say is a set offense there. And Corey put that one home.
Yeah, we haven't seen a lot of settled offense. You know, it's interesting that last time down for Richmond on offense, you mentioned Merklinger's name. We've hardly talked about him. They've hardly had that unit in the game at all. And we haven't seen a lot of settled offense at either end of the field. I'd like to talk a little bit about the influence that a new offensive coordinator has had at Virginia. Kevin Cassis, longtime head coach at Lehigh, who's took Sean Kerwin's place. But they haven't really shown that. Maybe we'll see a little bit more as we go on here if they have a lead here in the second half and they want to take a little bit more time. It just seems like the game has been a little more scattered for both teams.
Schellenberger dumps it off to Cormier. Now you've got a long stick on him with McClure. A little bit better matchup for Richmond in that regard. Now Schellenberger along the goal line and then behind. Draws it out. Works against Tommy Stull. Switches out with Schutz, dumps it in front, spun it along, grabbed out of the air by the Spiders. Jack Pilling gets it ahead to Stull.
Push, you got numbers, Richmond.
And Stull's going to set it up here on the wing to Luke Graham and then back behind to Aiden O'Neill. Kastner draws O'Neill. It's been the matchup all day defensively for Virginia. And this is Merklinger back on.
I think they switched their matchups here a little bit. I think Kaloji is covering O'Neill and Kastner has now switched over to Young. They have Schroeder out of the game. Fulton's in there. So again, they're working different combinations of people too as they try to search for the answers themselves, personnel-wise.
There's O'Neill. Got a double coming. And that was Kaloji there for a moment. Shot clock at 28. Getting in close and tight, and that's stopped by Nunes. That was Dalton Young trying that shot he hit in the first half, diving through, but this one did not go past Nunes this time. And
a good opportunity, though. A good chance for Richmond.
So it's still a 2-goal Virginia advantage. Nice work by Ben Weyer to work his way through, and he's going to get in tight. This one bounces way back out. Still alive. Finally scooped up. Nugent gets it over to Hunter Smith, and he'll fire it ahead for Richmond to get to the offensive end. Graham goes far side. Got a little unsettled situation here. And a goal out of it for Dalton Young. High to low beats Nunez. And Nunes down low, and it's 9-8.
You know, I was just as, with my coaching hat on, I was just about to say, pull that ball out and slow it down,
Young gets that shot down, and Nunes tried to stop it. He was in position, but it just got by him. So Dalton Young takes us to a timeout. It's 9-8, Virginia by 1 here in the third at Robins Stadium, and more coming up on this Saturday afternoon from Richmond.
Sports.
All right, we are just about midway through this third quarter. It's 9-8. Virginia has a 1-goal advantage. Spiders have scored 3 times here in the third. Virginia's scored twice. A 1-goal difference for the Cavaliers at this point. Schellenberger with 2 goals and 3 assists. Millen has 2 goals and an assist. Those 2 goals coming early in the first. Cormier with 1 goal. He's taken 9 shots, but he's only scored once. That tied him with Doug Wright for the all-time Virginia goals record. We wonder maybe if and Boyden has 1 goal for the Cavaliers. Young with 3 for Richmond. So you wonder if Cormier starts stepping up here in the second half a little bit, or if the game comes to him, or he tries to take the game to himself.
I would, if I was Coach Tiffany, I'd be telling Peyton to calm down just a little bit and pick your spots a little bit. The ball, you're going to get the next goal. You want him. He's a volume shooter, though. At the same time, and you want that. You want him to be taking a lot of shots and guys throwing the ball. Generally, you get the ball back if he misses the cage, and he's such a dangerous scorer that you want to create opportunities where he's winding up with the shot at the end.
Virginia's on offense. Corey has scored once today. Schellenberger has it. Chased by Smith. Picked up by Nugent. Got a short stick matchup for Schellenberger. He's going to fire, and a nice stop by Nunes. But Nugent, a little better matchup for Schellenberger maybe than he was a minute ago for Cormier. But just about midway through this third quarter, it's 9-8. Virginia has a 1-goal advantage. Spiders have scored 3 times here in the third. Virginia scored twice. A 1-goal difference for the Cavaliers at this point. Schellenberger with 2 goals and 3 assists. Millen has 2 goals and an assist. Those 2 goals coming early in the first. Cormier with 1 goal. He's taken 9 shots, but he's only scored once. That tied him with Doug Wright for the all-time Virginia goals record. We wonder maybe if and Boyden has 1 goal for the Cavaliers. Young with 3 for Richmond. So you wonder if Cormier starts stepping up here in the second half a little bit, or if the game comes to him, or he tries to take the game to himself.
I would, if I was Coach Tiffany, I'd be telling Peyton to calm down just a little bit and pick your spots a little bit. The ball, you're going to get the next goal. You want him. He's a volume shooter, though. At the same time, and you want that. You want him to be taking a lot of shots and guys throwing the ball. Generally, you get the ball back if he misses the cage, and he's such a dangerous scorer that you want to create opportunities where he's winding up with the shot at the end.
Virginia's on offense. Corey has scored once today. Schellenberger has it. Chased by Smith. Picked up by Nugent. Got a short stick matchup for Schellenberger. He's going to fire, and a nice stop by Nunes. Nugent, a little better matchup for Schellenberger maybe than he was a minute ago for Cormier. But that occurred on a switch, too.
Yeah. I'm not sure as a short stick you want to be matched up with Cormier or Schellenberger, but he's physically it's a better pairing for Nugent.
Richmond turns it over now as Nugent lost it on the sideline. There's Schellenberger out front, draws the pole this time. Has Jake Kapp on him.
That's Roy Colsey with the ball. Roy's dad played at Syracuse, Hall of Fame midfielder. Just a tremendous player.
Cormier bringing the lumber there, but now Smith comes away with it for Richmond.
And Presti unsettled a little bit.
Smith bringing it up to Kapp. Kapp near side to Graham, trying to get open for a shot. In the middle to Smith. He'll wind and bounce one past Nunes. And now we are tied at 9 with 6:04 to go in the third on the goal by Hunter Smith.
Hey, it's been an even game. When Richmond here now is taking advantage of a little bit of the unsettled opportunities with these last couple of goals, and the game has been back and forth. And so we are tied, and I think we got an exciting 20 minutes ahead of us.
So Hunter Smith with the tally. We're all even at 9 apiece. Virginia's got 10 face-off wins to 8 for Richmond as they square off at the X here now.
Richmond Spiders goal, his first of the season.
And Virginia comes away with that. First goal for Hunter Smith this season.
Good ground. Top of the goal, 6:04.
Nunes getting involved in this clear. He shoots it ahead to Terenzi. Terenzi scored once today. And here comes Boyden again.
Boyden and Schutz and Colsey.
Colsey dumps it off to Cormier. McClure trying to hang with him. Cormier getting in tight, taking one that bounces wide. So McClure getting that matchup with Cormier for the moment.
Cormier a little gimpy out there.
Here's Schellenberger now against Smith. That one didn't make it through. Cormier scoops it up. It's off Vigue as it goes to the far side. Fresh
An
clock
unsettled
for
opportunity here. Got the numbers.
That's Millen. He scored twice earlier. First quarter scores for him. Now a flag flies. Coming out. Virginia will work here until the Vigue save, and we'll get the penalty assessed to the Spiders after the Millen shot is stopped by Vigue.
Yeah, I think you could have worked for a little bit better shot there with the flag down. Again, you have a chance to try to really create something really good, and you got a little bit of time to do that. At the same time, the foul is you can't essentially abuse a pick, and that's what happened there.
So a man-up chance now for UVA. It's Jack Pilling. Interference is the call.
Richmond shutting off Cormier with a short stick, playing 5v4.
That's Millen on the near side here. Schutz and Millen working it. Now they'll skip it. Out in front. Nice work. Good shot. Near post. Goal. And it's Jack Boyden again. So Boyden's got 2 goals today. And the D3 transfer out of Tufts University gives Virginia a 10-9 advantage.
Really nice look. Diagonal, high to low. Schellenberger, great eyes. Boyden's going to finish that.
So Virginia capitalizes on the man-up chance. With the extra man, they're 1 for 2, and Richmond's 2 for 2 today on that extra man opportunity, but Virginia gets a big one here to go ahead. Nice win at the X by Gabriel. He'll charge in and fire. Vigue gets a stop.
Great save.
Hunter Smith out with it and shoots it ahead. Cap brings it across the midfield and fires up to Young. And Young is marked by Kastner, and he'll have to hold for some help here as Madonna comes on. So Virginia back up by 1 as the third quarter winds down with 3:40 to play here at Robins Stadium in Richmond. Oh, a foul called there. It turns it back over to Virginia on the run by Sheridan. And once again, Boyden working.
We haven't seen as much of Schroeder on defense for Virginia as this game has gone on. I wonder if he's injured.
And Cormier fires from the wing off target, but
Cormier, who had an incredible shot on goal percentage, he's hurting himself today.
he's taken 12 shots.
Getting lots of chances.
Gotten 1 to go in. Vigue the stop
save
on that
by
one.
Vigue has played very well.
Fabian got tangled up in the middle with Boyden, but Richmond works it to the offensive end. Yeah, 12 shots for Cormier today, only 1's gone in. But as you said, he's a volume shooter, and he needs that 1 more goal now to break that all-time Virginia scoring record of Doug Knight. He may or may not get it this afternoon. Alpaw working back behind the cage. George Fulton has picked up O'Neal now. O'Neal open behind for a moment, gets Nunes to come out to play him. And O'Neal still working. Spiders have 25 to shoot.
Graham's got a short stick. He goes out and sets a long pick on the wing for Young.
Kastner runs through a screen. Young's in all kind of traffic. Ball rolls over here to Sheridan. He goes across the other side. A reposition from Madonna doesn't get through. Shot clock's at 5 seconds, and now down to 3. All kind of contact going on there.
Did that not get through to the goalie?
Yeah, I don't think it did. The officials are going to make sure that that didn't go through. And Richmond's just going to fire it away. Luke Graham sends it into the trees.
Yeah, there goes my budget.
And Virginia comes back the other way with a 1-goal lead and 1:30 left here in the third. Noon's up ahead. Cavaliers into the offensive end. This is Schellenberger.
Subbing their defensive people off the field.
Now Will Corey at midfield just holds and says, hold on, we'll try to work this out here.
Truett Sunderland, number 3, a former attackman, likely to go set a pick behind.
Menke back there trying to
Yeah,
set
they've already
one.
got Menke doing that.
Now Menke rolls off that. And Fabian chases him down. This is Millen. That's a favorable matchup here. And not much opportunity there for Virginia, although the ball does come free. And it's gained back by the Cavaliers as Corey has it. And a nice stop there by Vigu. Richmond will get it to midfield to Cap.
Nice look.
He's got time. Cap on the run. Near side. And that one's off target from Luke Graham. Tried to fire one in. 10 seconds left. Third quarter action. O'Neal circling. Finding Jake Cap. Cap's going to shoot. Stopped by Nunes.
Nice
He'll
save by
throw it
Nunes.
length of the field. And it's wide of the cage. Well, the fourth quarter should be pretty interesting.
Yeah, exciting third quarter. Good lacrosse both ways. Exciting game.
10-9. 1-goal Virginia lead over Richmond. Back to Robins Stadium with the fourth quarter in a moment.
Both sides of the stadium, good crowds. This is a good day for lacrosse in Central Virginia.
Well, Nunes has 10 saves. Vigu has 14. And some scrambles here, and coming up with that ground ball is Joe Gooley, one of the good Spiders defensive midfielders. After the collision, been a lot of contact today and a lot of good physical play.
We still don't see Schroeder in the game for UVA, so there may be some issue there, but they've got enough experience with the people they have out there.
And you're going to get a stoppage of play on
Moving
Richmond
pick,
there.
interference.
Interference in the moving screen. Well, you see Collegiate Defense, who started his career as a Spider, and Fulton's in there now. And you know, the word from the Virginia folks was ahead of time, you know, Fulton and College have been fighting for that third spot defensively, and now if Schroeder's out, you know, you're not hurting by putting one of those other two guys in there. So they've really got 4 quality close defenders, the Cavaliers do. Offensive setup now.
I'd like to see Richmond continue to press the issue from behind the cage on offense with Young and O'Neal especially.
This one rolls away from Millen, but it's chased down by Cormier. Back to Millen, trying to get into position, but has to push to the side. Goes back in front to Cormier. Quick shot and a goal. That is going to give him the all-time Virginia goals record as he breaks Doug Knight's mark of 126 goals, or I think it was, but he's 2 goals to break it, and that gives him the mark. He got 2 goals today. And he gives Virginia now an 11-9 advantage. And Cormier now is Virginia's all-time leading goal scorer.
Seemed like he was pressing a little bit to get there, but he's just around the place so much, and that opportunity was going to present itself. And, you know, that record has stood since Doug graduated in 1997, and Peyton can be very proud of that.
165 goals, I believe. Cormier came in, by the way, as we talked about earlier, with his number of shots. You know, his shooting percentage was 41.7%, and the shots on goal was 50%.
Yeah, he's one of the most accurate shooters in the country. That's why it's been feeling like since the beginning of the game that he was pressing just a little bit here and trying to get those first couple of goals.
2-goal Virginia lead, and the possession now. "13 minutes left in the contest." Nice stop there by Vigu. Looks for an outlet. And it's off the stick of Stull, and he's trying to scoop it back up. Picked up by Schellenberger. He bounces off Madonna, who came on for offense but now leaves for defense, and Virginia loses this possession after all. So now McClure goes to work with Nunes here. Going to go downfield instead. Nice save along the side there by O'Neal. Again, a little unsettled here if Richmond can strike quickly.
When you're clearing the ball against Virginia, you need to take advantage of the entire field. They haven't shown a lot of 10-man ride. They've kept the goalie, they've kept Nunes in the goal for the most part, but they're still trying to stretch you out. And so using those attackmen in the corners has to be part of your clearing effort.
Sheridan goes back behind the cage for Dalton Young, and it's going to go back to Virginia.
Yeah, a couple of turnovers here early. Going in the crease can sometimes be a little bit of a mental error. You know, moving pick or an interference call we had early here.
I think the Spiders thought maybe that Sheridan had been bumped in there, but that was not the case. So now Virginia's got possession. Will Corey works with it. Corey gets around Pilling here, and Millen working against Fabian. Finds Cormier, and there's another one. So just like that,
two open on the inside.
Cormier finds 2 goals in this quarter, and now it's 12-9. Virginia's up by 3. Cormier's been a 2-time 50-goal scorer in his career at Virginia, and boy, he's struck quickly here in this fourth quarter.
Just a little confusion on defense, getting rematched up, and you know, Peyton has a way of finding that open space, that little piece of space on the inside, and obviously Virginia has a lot of confidence to throw him the ball in there. It almost appeared like it was one of the plays that happened early in the game.
Chenoy scrambling for possession, and then a ground ball for Gooley here now. Lobs it ahead to Stull.
There you go.
And Stull at the other end. Answers quickly. Tommy Stull coming away with a goal. So we're back now to a 2-goal Virginia lead at 12-10. Gooley flips it ahead to Stull, and he takes matters into his own hands. That's his first goal of the season.
Virginia wound up with two of their the faceoff guy and one of the wing guys. They're pulled chasing the ball up the field, and that invariably gives the other team an opportunity to get in behind you and create an unsettled.
And now Chenoy, after this ground ball on the face-off, still loose. Is picked up by Cap, and as he goes to the turf, he'll lose it. Tried to shovel it off to a teammate, but Virginia comes away with it. And that one got away from Corey in the middle, and that goes back to Richmond. A lot of back and forth plays so far this afternoon. 12-10 Virginia, 2-goal lead, 10:47 left in the contest. Richmond's got St. John's coming in here next week. Virginia, meanwhile, will only be battling Ohio State.
So one thing about our sport, all the top teams play the other top teams, even out of conference, especially early in the season. And it's not a sport in which you see the best teams playing the best teams all the time. I mean, Richmond here with Maryland, Virginia, Georgetown, Duke, all coming here to Dickinson Field, and and Virginia plays the same kind of schedule.
That'll be a fun game, and here, of course, next week, and of course for Virginia, that's a home game. Ohio State coming to Charlottesville. Tough scramble and a matchup here, and a turnover created.
Pat McIntosh with the ball there. We haven't seen a lot of him. Expected to see a little bit more of him.
And that pass got away from Nugent, picked up by Young.
Didn't call him for a push.
Young to the far side. Back to Young in front. And a tremendous stop by Nunes. Dalton Young wanted something off of that, but didn't get it. And I think the potential pushback here was more of an inadvertent collision, maybe, but maybe not.
I would like to see Graham shoot that ball. And Dalton made a great play on it and wound up getting a shot off, but I think Graham had his hands free.
So Virginia has possession with a 2-goal lead. It's been that kind of afternoon. Virginia has 42 shots, 27 on goal. Richmond has 34 shots, 21 of which have been on the cage. 15 saves for Vigu and 11 for Nunes today. Both goalies over 50%.
Both goalies have played very well.
So on the wing now for Virginia's Colsey. He and Schellenberger will switch places now behind the goal line. Nugent waits for Colsey here. Now a switch with Smith. That gets Nugent on Schellenberger.
And that's what Virginia was trying to create there, was they're trying to get them to switch. So now they got a short stick on Schellenberger, which is really dangerous.
Gooley after Cormier. He spins through traffic. Nice save by Nunes. Kicked along by McClure, and Nunes, not Nunes, Vigu picks it up. Sorry. Got my goalies at the wrong end. Both playing well today. Good job by Vigu. Here's Madonna in the middle of the field now. That's O'Neill with Gavin Creo out there, the freshman.
On Fulton. That's it.
That one through the crease. So Richmond puts Creo out onto this shift.
Creo against a short, his former attackman.
Now Madonna. Lost it, tried to get it back. Shot clock at 30. Nunes comes out of the cage to scoop it up. Some aggressive play from the Virginia goalie on that series there. And Nunes gives it up, and Virginia's got it on their side of the field. Colsey will wait for some changes now with 6:50 to play and a 2-goal Virginia advantage at 12-10. Colsey just taking his time out here.
It's a lot of time there. I can appreciate milking the clock a bit, but you don't want to leave yourself with not enough time to get a good opportunity. There's too much lacrosse left to play. I think it's too early to just decide you're going to sit on the ball.
Here's Boyden.
This is dangerous.
Dumped it in front, and an easy goal right on the doorstep for Ryan Colsey. And once again, Jack Boyden is involved for Virginia, now up 13-10. That is going to take us to a timeout here. 6:13 left, a 3-goal Cavalier advantage over the Richmond Spiders. Final few moments of this fourth quarter. Coming up in just a few minutes here from Robins Stadium. That's a 3-goal Virginia advantage here at Robins Stadium in the fourth quarter. 6:13 left, along with Dom Starsia and the rest of our ESPN Plus crew. Robert Fish here, and Dom, we looked at this now, you know, we remarked during the timeout that Jack Boyden has 2 goals and 1 assist for Virginia, but it seems like he's been much more involved in that today.
And you asked me about the difference, the adjustment for him coming from Division III to Division I. Just in that play right there, where Colsey scores, he gets the assist on the play. He's covered by a short stick, and so throughout last year, he's being covered by the #1 defenseman on the other team, #1 long pole on the other team in every situation. He gets here, and he's covered by a short stick. He must just feel like life is, starting over again. And that's the particular problem that Virginia, provides, is that you want to put a long pole on those 3 attackmen. You can't help but doing that. And then the next pole, generally coming into the season, certainly goes to Schutz at 6'3" and 220. Leaving Boyden with a short stick, he just seems like he's around the play and around the points all the time. He is particularly dangerous.
And Virginia's got possession again, and there's Boyden in the middle.
And Schutz with a short stick on him.
That's Joe Gooley. Now that is a short stick, one of Virginia's. Virginia advantage here at Robins Stadium in the 4th quarter. 6:13 left, along with Dom Starship and the rest of our ESPN Plus crew. Robert Fish here, and Dom, we looked at this now, we remarked during the timeout that Jack Boyden has 2 goals and 1 assist for Virginia, but it seems like he's been much more involved in that today.
And you asked me about the difference, the adjustment for him coming from Division III to Division I. Just in that play right there, where Colsey scores, he gets the assist on the play. He's covered by a short stick, and so throughout last year, he's being covered by the #1 defenseman on the other team, #1 long pole on the other team in every situation. He gets here, and he's covered by a short stick. He must just feel like life is, starting over again. And that's the particular problem that Virginia, provides, is that you want to put a long pole on those 3 attackmen. You can't help but doing that. And then the next pole, generally coming into the season, certainly goes to Schutz at 6'3" and 220. Leaving Boyden with a short stick, he just seems like he's around the play and around the points all the time. He is particularly dangerous.
And Virginia's got possession again, and there's Boyden in the middle.
And Schutz with a short stick on him.
That's Joe Gooley. Now that is a short stick, one of Virginia's Richmond's better defenders, though, but we'll see how this turns out.
If you had a big horse that could run with Schutz, I don't know, you might take that chance and slide the pole over to Boyden.
Schutz leaves it for Schellenberger. Smith marking him in close. Boyden's shot misses. Ricochets out, and it's grabbed by Vigu. And so Vigu will work it to the far side, and Richmond goes to work with 4:54 left, down 3 goals. And all of a sudden, in the last few minutes now, the Spiders are 20 of 24 on the clear, so they've been good in the first half, and you're going to get a whistle and offsides. Going to be called against Richmond this time. So they made some mistakes.
Mark up.
Late in the game, Cormier now draws McClure. And Virginia content to just work some time off this shot clock here and get some changes in. McIntosh is on.
McIntosh and Quarry and Menke on that, or Sunderland out there now with that second group. I thought we might see a little bit more of McIntosh, but it's really his first game. He's coming off an injury. He was somebody that subbed in on the attack last year, maybe I think when Cormier couldn't play, and had 6 in a game against Johns Hopkins.
Sunderland working behind the cage. Shot clock's at 20.
You talk about the influence of Kevin Cassis on the offense. That's very similar to what they did before, and there was really no reason to change things up too dramatically. Almost always run a short stick back there, either set a pick for one of those attackmen. And if they set an effective pick and you switch, now you have a short stick on an attackman, or else you're attacking off out of the invert.
on save for Vigu. He's at 17 now. He's got a
Yeah,
56.7%.
he has kept Richmond in this game, and now Richmond's got to get one here.
Sheridan out front, near side Dalton Young. Kastner over to cover him, and Nunes comes up with that. That might have been a pass, trying to get it back maybe behind to
I think
O'Neal.
that was going over the goal. It was a shot.
Now Cormier to the offensive end for the Cavaliers, leading with 2:39 left, a 3-goal advantage. And here is Jack Boyden.
And what we've seen here today out of Virginia is what we were talking about a little bit earlier, which is that they've shortened their roster a little bit. They've tightened up their substitutions.
Boy, Boyden does it again. He finds a cutter, Colsey, and they team up for another goal. And that makes it 14-10 Virginia with 2:06 left as Colsey scores on the cut to the middle.
He acted as if he was going to step out and receive a pass on the perimeter, and he backdoored his guy. Smart little play.
And so now with a 4-goal lead and 2:06 left. Time short for Richmond here. Faceoffs are now 15-10, but Richmond wins that one. Dalton Young on the wing goes to O'Neal. O'Neal's marked there by George Fulton. And Richmond, I believe, wants a timeout here, and they will take that timeout. So with 1:51 left, the time certainly of the essence for the Spiders, and Virginia's kind of stepped up a little bit here. They got 4 goals in this fourth quarter to take that 14-10 advantage.
Yeah, there's still enough time, but there's no possessions to waste here, and so you need to come out of this timeout. And Virginia coming into the third quarter works the hidden ball trick. It's an easy, quick goal. You'd like to think that maybe Richmond's got something up their sleeve. They could, a quick hitter that they could get, and Chinoy is certainly more than holding his own at the face-off X, so they got a chance to get the ball back. We want to try to, like I say, getting a good shot coming out of this timeout and not taking too much time to do it.
Well, we mentioned Virginia's opened up that lead here in this fourth quarter. Some of those have come in the last couple of minutes. And, of course, it involves Jack Boyden. Nice pass to Ryan Colsey. That was number 1. And that was number 2. Well, those two teaming up for the last couple of goals. Making a 1-2 punch for Virginia today. One that you may not have expected to be the 1-2 punch, but down the stretch, it's been a big difference.
Yeah. Well, like I said, that's, they've got 5, if you got 5 offensive guys, they may have 6 or 7, but if you got 5 real offensive guys, that makes you really dangerous because it means that a short stick is playing somebody somewhere. And even if, like I said, that matchup we had Gooley on Schutz, and maybe you like that one, there's a tendency to loosen up defensively, thinking that we're probably going to have to support that, and that just creates space for the team on offense, and Virginia's good enough to take advantage of that.
Now, we look at last year, Virginia won 25-8 in the game in Charlottesville, and they won 17-8 in the NCAA first-round tournament game. It's 14-10 today. From a Richmond perspective, do you still got time to get back into this one maybe, but do you take anything out of that as far as a difference for your team?
Well, it's been a great game between 2 good teams. Richmond never backed down. Virginia was able to take advantage of some things. What I would be saying to my team is, hey, fellas, be patient. Where we've had, we've lost a couple of games here early. If that's how this turns out, but we're playing hard, and we're getting better. And there's a lot of season to go here, and we just got to keep working at it.
Now Virginia comes up with it. Schellenberger has it. 1:10 left in the game. Shot clock under 60 at 58 now. Schellenberger fires one that's picked off by Cap, and he'll get it to Nugent, who quickly moves it ahead. Gooley into the offensive end, but that pass eludes Graham. It'll go back to Virginia. The other part about it is Virginia's ranked 3rd, Maryland's ranked 6th, so you faced a couple of top 10 teams if you're Richmond here in the first 3 games.
You know, Richmond has a chance to win the Maryland game right at the end of the first overtime. They don't sink the shot. Maryland gets it and finishes the shot. And then, Maryland goes and clobbers Loyola. Loyola beats Georgetown convincingly, and then Maryland clobbers Loyola, and so it's if I'm Richmond, it's making me feel a little bit better about that effort.
Richmond will play Georgetown on March 23rd. They've got Duke on the 16th. So those, among others, you still got to play St. John's next week.
No, right. And as a coach, that's the message. The message is, again, to be patient, but to keep getting better. You know, every day. You know, we don't take St. John's for granted. We don't take anybody for granted. Everybody's going to get our best shot. And you know, if the opportunity presents itself to see this team again the next time, which happened last year in the playoffs, we're going to be better prepared. There's nothing discouraging about this. You can be a little disappointed in the final result. You got a good crowd like this at home. You want to entertain the crowd and bring the win home. But there's a lot to build on here.
Jake Cap gets a penalty here with 29 seconds left. It is a 1-minute penalty on Cap. And so Virginia, if they choose to, can just let the clock run out here with that 4-goal advantage and the man-up opportunity.
Yeah, and they can see that they have Terenzi, number 5, in the game, and Long Pole, 44, in the game for their extra man, and simply that they're going to run the clock out and not give it anything going up the other way.
So that's going to do it for this one today. You know, at one point late in this contest, it was 9-9, but Virginia scores 4 goals in the 4th. To 1 for Richmond, and your final mark is 14-10 for the 3rd-ranked Cavaliers. They'll get the win, take their record to 2-0. Meanwhile, Richmond drops to 1-2, and they'll look ahead to face a St. John's team next week. Next Saturday, that game will be at noon here at Robins Stadium, and they'll look to build on what they did today. Cormier had 3 goals for Virginia. Schellenberger 2. Millen 2. Boyden had 2 goals, 2 assists. Colsey had 2 goals. And by the way, Schellenberger with his 2 goals had 5 assists to go with that. Terenzi got 2 goals today, and Corey added 1 for the Cavaliers. For the Spiders, Dalton Young, 3 goals, 2 assists. Took 8 shots today. O'Neal, a goal and an assist. Madonna, Graham, Smith, Sheridan, Ricciardi, and Stull all added 1 goal apiece. Both goalies played well today.
Goalies played very well.
You got Nunes with 12 saves at 54.5%, and Vigu with 17.